This past February, the Georgia Senate voted on a bill that allowed state-funded, faith-based adoption agencies to refuse to work with same-sex couples or anyone else they wanted to reject. This would have legalized discrimination.
With the language, it was specifically on LGBT parents and LGBT youth. So organizations could take public funds and not allow LGBT families to adopt, and then they could also deny services to LGBT youth in foster care, which would be very dangerous. The big thing with that bill, even though it did not pass, this dangerous message has already happened, and that is making LGBT people, single people, anybody who is non-traditional in some way, to feel like they are not currently allowed to adopt in Georgia or that it's not welcoming, and that is the furthest thing from the truth.
This issue is of particular interest to me. When I served in the State House, I was one of a small group of Democrats to vote against an amendment that defined marriage as between a man and a woman, and I have the t-shirt to prove it. I wrote my master's thesis on faith-based organizations that partner with government to offer social services, so I have a unique perspective on this issue.
We actually got married in Hawaii in October 2014. So at that point, the federal government recognized us, but the state did not. My husband is older than me, and he grew up in a very different time. He honestly thought that marriage equality would not come in his lifetime. We really did jump in the deep end right from the start, but I kind of say, you know, why not? And I can tell you honestly, a lot of people have misconceptions about adopting teens.
Do we have any other bread?
The difficult part can be bonding with them because they're wanting their independence at the same time as you're trying to give them ties.
My son's here with a sandwich.
Our sons have now been with us for just a little over 2 years. When we met them, they were 14 and 15. They're 16 and 17 now. One of my sons waited almost 3,000 days in foster care. That's almost 8 years. And believe it or not, it's not that uncommon. Here he is. We did not go in necessarily looking for LGBT kids, and in fact, when we first met our child who does identify, we were unaware. That was not something that came out in the beginning. I do feel that it's very important that people who would support and adopt LGBT kids do so because they don't have enough families. It is estimated that about 20% of foster kids identify somewhere within the LGBT community. So it's important, just like with transracial adoption, that they have supporting, loving, safe families for these kids. I get so emotional looking through these books. I have grown immensely as a person from having them in my life. Adopt Georgia originally started as a parent support group because there was not anything in that model here in Georgia for adoptive parents. So whenever parents came through the system, they were reinventing the wheel every time. And then with bills like SB375 out this year, it really increased our message to spread inclusivity and visibility for all types of families in Georgia.
Last February, I went down to the Capitol to fight against this bill.
I want to see the signatures, and actually I probably need to look at what they changed, so maybe the substitute if you have that.
Partly because I heard my opponent had signed it.
So yes, Senator Miller of the 40th, he has signed this bill.
He ended up not only voting yes, but he also spoke on behalf of the bill from the floor of the Senate.
I met Sally Harrell this past February. She was becoming very visible with her campaign, and she made a video explaining SB375 and the dangers of it. I instantly related. I knew somewhat about this bill already. I then made a video myself, and we were sharing each other's video, commenting on each other's video, and from there I've got more engaged with her campaign. Sally Harrell represents all of us. Senate District 40 is a very diverse district, just like much of DeKalb. And for too long, DeKalb has worn diversity as some badge, but they have not been inclusive. Sally Harrell is an inclusive candidate, and she will represent everybody in Senate District 40. So vote for Sally Harrell on November 6th.